Good. Now, one last question on contending or on the invention, the council room, whatever takes place in the boardroom or the business office. So God says it's time on the earth to send down the smartphone. The earth needs this device. It's going to help them all over the earth. And does someone in that boardroom say, who should we give this to? And someone says, well, let's give it to Steve Jobs. How does that happen? How does Steve Jobs end up with the smartphone when it started in heaven?
I can say that God does need many different, God has his own timeline, number one. I know people have their own and what they think is going to happen, but God's timeline is in heaven. I've seen it in the floor of the throne room of events that would take place. Events in time or events of operations had to take place in order for us to be successful with those things. There were new inventions and ideas we literally had to have in the earth. And there were sometimes he sends them like waves around the earth. They drop like they look like little pieces of glitter to give a better source of it. I've seen there's a wave of the idea zone in heaven, and you step into it, and you can even get ideas in heaven and make things in heaven. That's just the way it always works.
Really?
He'll take a wave of that, and he sends it over the earth, and it drops these little ideas. Like it could be maybe one idea, but there's like maybe 500,000 of them. Really? And they'll go all over the earth, and whoever in the past, whoever got that, created it. And how they used it made a difference in what happened on the earth, but God needed the idea. So many believers have gotten ideas and never did anything with it. And a lot of people say, wow, I thought of that too. But in these days that we're living in now, God will on purpose send specific ideas and inventions to believers. Okay. So they will be for the kingdom and not for the darkness. So he does sometimes, before you are sent from him, actually will call you a creator, like a witty idea or inventor. We call them inventors on the earth. He puts that in you because he put it in you to have a desire to invent. Mm-hmm. And you can see things and hear things that they see. That's how people invent. In the past, like the electricity, we certainly needed that, right? Transportation. You can look at all kinds of different operations and systems made in the earth where we wouldn't be where we were today if we didn't have them. But what's coming is so majorly important for God. He will specifically send them and appoint them to different people. And this is mainly what God does. He actually will call them together and say, this is my plan, and this is who I have chosen. What do you think about that? That's what he usually says.
Really?
And people give input like, yes, I've been watching this person's life. They're great. They're perfect for this. Yes, they have given themselves to you. I think that is a great idea. I'm not saying they couldn't suggest someone else, and I'm not saying God wouldn't consider them, but he would always share with them the reasons why there's specific people he has chosen. Sometimes people or family members will come to God and say, can we have a meeting? I want like God doesn't know, but people just have this desire to let him know in person. I know that my brother's been working on this a long time. It would really help the earth. Is this something he's going to be able to make? Is this something you appointed for him to have? Because he's poured his whole life. It's all he talks about on the earth. And that at that point, God would totally share with them, and he would probably say, yes, that is what I've given him. That's why it's been in his soul. He will actually create this. It will help change this part of the way people live. And it so blesses the heart of people. So they do have, God says, let's reason together. He really meant that. Sometimes he shares it with the whole group, whoever's in the throne room, he'll tell them things, and they'll all have discussions amongst each other. And they are allowed to give input, or sometimes they're just there to be blessed to hear. But I do know that God does appoint some, that he won't take that appointment away from them.
Well, and I think of a meeting in heaven with God. I think it'd be really fun. God had me give a prophet a word once that said God was really, this is one time on a cruise. I don't know if it was when you were on, Kat, but the word was God really is interested in your opinion, and he's going to ask you, what would you like to see done? Or it was something like that. Is it like that? Will God ask your opinion and really value it as if it will help? I don't even know how to ask that question because he's all knowing. Why would he
He
value?
absolutely will ask people, Steve. He really will do that. He really will. And sometimes God looks over several people. Maybe he's deciding between several people. Maybe they all would, he qualifies the chosen. He doesn't always pick someone who other people would pick. In other words, he's not going to choose the qualified. That's the best way. He doesn't choose the qualified according to man's standards. Sometimes he'll pick people that no people would understand why. So, but he does have open, there are open sessions where he say, I want to do this on the earth. What do you all think about this? What ideas do you have about this? How do you feel about this? If he does it in heaven, I'm absolutely positive he will come and sometimes even ask people here on the earth those same questions.
I love it.